Good morning and good evening to everybody in the homeopathic field. Let me start a little bit small joke. Anybody know the meaning of cum juice? Cum juice means miser. My most beloved friend in the homeopathic field is a cum juice. His name is Shaji Kudiyat because he just gave me 10 minutes. Let me try to explain. Let me try to explain our potentials and everything like that. Let me try to give my idea how to make homeopathy first. We have our own potentials and we have our own strength, we have our own weakness. But first of all, we need to understand what are the potentials we have, what are the strengths we have. Then we need to compare with the weakness, with our weakness. We know homeopathy is the most advanced science, most newest science in the world. We have just 250 years. We are just 250 years old. As far as concerned to allopathy, it was found by Hippocrates 35 years before Christ. 2000 something, more than 2000 years, but we are just about 200 years. Ours is the, homeopathy is the only medicine who offer cure, the word cure. Nobody else can cure anything. Only homeopathy can cure diseases and ailments and everything like that. Also, we have a whole body concept. No other systems have a whole body concept because they think the heart is for the cardiologist, knee is for the orthopedician, heart doctor, knee doctor, nail doctor, hair doctor, eye doctor, ear doctor. They think heart is a different part of the body. But for us, the whole system is correlated, according to our system, according to our belief. And we know the safest system in the world, in the planet, is homeopathy. 100% safe. All other systems, medicines have some kind of side effects and everything. We know all these potentials and everything. Also, this is the most economic system. We know all these potentials, but how many percentage of our patients know all this information? Maybe just 10% or 5%. How many of us teach the patient or tell the patient this is the safest one? We have a whole body concept. How many of us teach them? I think maybe 10 or 15%. First of all, we need to teach our patients, our relatives, our friends, our well-wishers, and everybody. And about our weakness. Nowadays, not nowadays, a lot of homeopathy doctors are reluctant to practice. They are some kind of fearful to practice. They are a little bit something like discouraged. Anyway, nowadays, after the evaluation of IFPH, lot of maybe 1 or 2 dozens of homeopaths in USA asked me how to practice, how to develop practice, and everything like that. But there was no help. They didn't get enough help before this evaluation of IFPH. And the opportunity. Now, this is the best opportunity, best time to develop or practice, and best time to achieve the goal, the COVID, because of this COVID. And about the threat, we have a lot of threat. In the United States, an allopathic system is a health industry. In India and other countries, it is like a welfare or health care system. But here it is health industry. You know the difference between industry and care. This is just to allopathy is just to make money from the patients, and the whole medical field here is controlled by medical industry, pharmaceuticals, and insurance companies. That's our threat. Most of the American states never cover they don't cover homeopaths for the patients in insurance. That's another threat. And I think I have one more minute. So anyway,
you have 5-4 minutes, doctor.
Okay. So I told you again, everything is controlled here by insurance companies and medical mafia, medical industry. In India also, it's also getting like that. Everything is going to be under insurance companies and medical pharmaceuticals. Also, another thing, how to solve the issue. In here, we have three homeopathic associations. Number one, National Center for Homeopathy. Number two, America's Choice, Americans for Homeopathy Choice. And number three, American Institute of Homeopathy. Just three organizations. But compared to other countries, this is too little, just three. But in most of the Eastern countries, they have a lot of organizations. My suggestion is we have to be under one umbrella, under one cloud, under one concept. We must have a common platform for the whole homeopathy in the world. It must be IFPH. Thank you, Shaji.
Thank you, Dr. Jacob Matthew. It is very interesting and nice to see how our daily Zoom meetings help doctors and ordinary people around the world. I'm very happy to hear from Dr. Jacob Matthew about homeopathic doctors who remain dormant is coming out to help people, inspired by our daily Zoom meetings. It is very interesting, and we can be proud of these achievements in many countries. Homeopathy is rising. And see, now in Turkey, one of our very active IFPH group is already in the second group. And we are very nearly going to start a Zoom session separately for Turkey from English translated to Turkey. Special session, we will be soon inaugurating such a session also. So these are very interesting things, and we can be proud of us IFPH team. And IFPH is doing very important job internationally, especially during pandemic times. And we are the only organization doing promotion of homeopathy internationally, which is helping, doing great help in promotion of homeopathy. Now I invite Dr. Ranjit from Botswana. He is originally from India, also from Trichy, Kerala, India. Graduated from Dr. Padiyar Memorial Homeopathic Medical College, Chotanagara, Kerala in 2004. Practiced in India for 7 years and then moved to Botswana in 2011 and practicing in Gaborone, Botswana since 2011. Over to you, Dr. Ranjit. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening to all. Okay. I was listening to this speech, and this is a very good topic that we need to discuss. I would like to share my thoughts regarding this. Okay. As the topic says, what need to be done to become the number one, right? To become number one, you have to make the already existing number one into position number two. That is how we can make the things number one, right? So we have to see the possibilities or activities that we need to move forward to make it number one. Number one means that it's popular, a system which is popular in the society. To make a system popular in the society, what we are lacking is the popularity. Popularity comes from where? By knowing the people. As the doctor was saying, the people are not educated about the difference between the disease-based prescription and a patient-based prescription. So people's education, people has to be educated. Okay, and also the second thing is what I observe to make us behind is we don't have actually a big platform for handling the emergency care. People needs to be cared for emergency. That is a very bad, very negative thing that I see. It's not because we don't have a capacity to to handle emergency care, but we don't have platforms or hospitals to handle the emergency care. So we need to come to more towards the giving the emergency care, hospitals and bigger facility setups to make ourselves popular. Now, unfortunately, our systems are not that much. Maybe it's because of the funding. Funding is also a big issue in us. You look into the pharma industries, as we call it as pharma mafia or whatever it is. We use generic medications always. And we don't use that kind of over-the-counter medication or patented medications. So where does this research fund comes from? Look into this COVID pandemic. Vaccine companies are investing trillions and trillions of money into the system to find out what vaccine can be useful so that it can cover the whole world and they make business. So that's how the research comes in this industry. And we have got this arsenicum album, much better than what these vaccines offer. But it's very unfortunate that we don't have a data to prove that this arsenicum album is very. You remember we had few researchers earlier to prove the efficacy of this arsenicum album, and from Kerala, Dr. Biju was the one who is initiating this, and I could see that it needed a lot of funding to prove such researches. And actually, since we are using these generic medicines, we are lack of no pharma companies or no government is interested in doing it. So it's the popularity doesn't comes from just educating people or just giving practice. We have to do mass funding activities that should come from the industry. And also, my view is emergency care. We have got a lot of emergency care facilities that has to come up. And also, as per that, the syllabus of our medical system or homeopathic medical system also needs to change. Then only we can become number one. So the syllabus activities should include more of emergency care, more of people's care, so that once an emergency comes, okay, people should rely on homeopathy. Okay, oh, if I go to that hospital, I get a care or I'll get treated on this emergency. So these kind of systems should come up to make it homeopathy to become number one. And I feel the funding is a main issue. To cover up these funding issues, especially you see with regarding these COVID issues, it's very unfortunate that the data we had is much more than, you see these vaccine companies, they do how many trials? Maybe they do a 1,000 or 2,000 people's clinical trial or a 3,000 people's care and trial, and they say that, okay, this vaccine is working, 91%, 95%. How many millions of people have taken arsenicum album? Millions and millions. But we don't have any data to prove. So this is, homeopathy is actually popular, but to integrate the system and to put more research on it, there is no one is taking care of And this much of funding, who is going to invest? No pharma companies cannot invest on arsenicum album because it's a generic medicine. Even if they prove that arsenicum album is preventive, excellent preventive against COVID-19, they don't have the right to sell it. Then how do they invest on it? For these kind of big studies, how individual person can do funding? No one can do funding. No one can. These kind of researchers needs funding. What about from the government sector? Again, government sector. No one funds. So I believe that is a main drawback to the homeopathy in the research side. Obviously, when the research side is more strong and more researchers comes into place, homeopathy will be the number one. It takes time. And against, we have to move against, and we have to flow against the strong resistance from the allopathy. Everyone knows that homeopathy is working, but we don't have data, clearly data collection, research methodologies, everything, including the funding that we don't have. That is what we lack. And the numbers too, I was telling the privatization of, and mass hospitals should come up with emergency medical cares, so that people in an area get popularized against homeopathy. And also from children, our student side, the syllabuses should change. Now the nanotechnology comes in, the other new technologies comes in, and then the medical system has to be, our homeopathy is very close to nanotechnology, everyone knows. But syllabus, it has to include more and more researchers has to come up. Then it will be published to the world. And then data and researchers should be collected and funding should be done. Then only it can become number one. And for this, an integrated approach is needed from the practitioners, researchers, patients, homeopathy lovers, everyone need popularity. We need to make it popular. That is what I have to say to make the homeopathy in number one. We have to move the second, I mean the first allopathy to the second part, and research and evidence-based medicine makes them popular. So we have to understand and we have to move further towards it. And it is not too much far away, because patient-based medicine is becoming popular now rather than disease-based medicine. And ours is patient-based prescription, not disease-based. Over to you, Dr. Shaji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjit.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjit, all the way from Botswana, South Africa, in South Africa. And now I agree with the most of the things that Dr. Ranjit explained, especially we need to give education, and especially the uniqueness of homeopathy, because nowadays the people compare our system with the allopathy and they expect the allopathic way, which is not the right way from us. So there is a difference, and we need to educate the public about the uniqueness and the differences, how we manage our cases and the outcome of the management in our unique way also. And that education is really lacking. And we need to definitely bring our system with equip our system of medicine with emergency medicine. We have the potential. It is a matter of beginning and learning and beginning such emergency window. We may not be able to attend every system. Even allopathy is not attending every cases of emergency. Sometimes that happens. That's a reason. So they also refer to other hospitals because of incapacity. So we also have the incapacity, but we will be able to do a lot of help, especially in joining in integration in the emergency area. And we have a lot of potentials there also, which need to be explored. Then also funding is the biggest thing, and the funding and political support is the biggest thing lacking, because data is needed. I agree with the Dr. Ranjit, the data is needed, but look at even the arsenic and vaccine situation regarding COVID. When the arsenic album was declared, everybody was asking for proof, even though our medicine was proved in a healthy human being. But when COVID-19, even mRNA vaccine, that is a new technology which is even not eligible to called as a vaccine, came out. There is no data needed. It was authorized, it was allowed and permitted in under emergency use authorization because of the political might and the connectivity they have, which we don't have. And that political attachment makes the difference. So we need to become the politically strong by popularizing and making people understand the potentials and advantages of our medicine. And our might is not only not the money might, but the positive, beneficial might. When understood by the people, people should demand for it. So the mass number of people who are willing to demand for homeopathy after understanding its potentials, advantages, effectiveness, and capabilities should become our political might. And therefore that we need a lot of education. So that is one area I wish to add here. And also the current system of medicine came to number one as a matter of a kind of deception, also brought forwarded by a high school teacher in the name of Abraham Flexner, who put the Flexner report in America to demolish all other systems of medicine, to make biochemical medicine as the only scientific medicine, put forwarded by business people who wants to control and monopolize the entire system. Especially Carnegie Foundation and Rockefeller Foundation, as we are listening to from many panelists in the last few days. So these are the things that we need to understand. So we have all the potentials, but education is here. Now I call for the third speaker, who is a homeopathy lover from Russia, homeopathy lover, Hanna Markina, who is a homeopathy lover and translator of our IFPH steering committee member, Dr. Joe Saisa, who regularly visits Russia from Vladivostok and Far East, which is a Far East city of Russia. And a patient of homeopathy for 20 years and raised 2 children totally with homeopathy, a very passionate homeopathy lover. I listened to her talk in our 24 hours Zoom session also. It was very inspiring. And Dr. Sanna Markina is a bachelor in languages, a freelancer now, no other professional qualification. She runs a Hope for Life ministry in Far East of Russia, helping orphans and foster families to raise orphans in God, and a very passionate, dedicated social worker. I expect to get her full support for spreading homeopathy, not only in Russia, but internationally through her very nourishing, inspiring speeches. Over to you, Sanna Markina, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me well?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everyone. It's a big honor for me to join such honored doctors and to join your efforts to witness to the world that homeopathy is a very healthy and very effective method of treatment. I also find it very physiological. It was important to me as a mom. It's important to me as a patient. Um, like you mentioned, I have had the privilege of working together with Professor Jose Isaac as a translator for more than 15 years in Vladivostok, which is in the far east of Russia. So I do totally believe that homeopathy is one of the best methods offered to humanity. Um, and the reasons have been mentioned before. I would like to mention some that I have seen really bless me as a patient and many, many people that I know over the years here. First, I love the fact that the doctor of homeopathy is very much into you, is totally into you. He puts his heart, his knowledge into each patient. And it's in his best interest that I, as a patient, don't just get a temporary relief, but a long term improvement. Secondly, homeopathy steps up in the most odd, unclear, and difficult cases. Many times I know one simillimum meets all patients' totality of symptoms, where in other systems, the patient would have to be footballed from one specialist to another, from one doctor's office to another, doing more tests, and so on and so forth. Very complicated process, and yes, very, very um, expensive. And of course, we also see that improved health leads to a totally different lifestyle of people. It is not a life consists of testing, constant doctor's appointments, constant waiting, coming to hospitals, but it is a smooth walk with a doctor who knows how your particular condition is most likely developing and helping you through it in the most physiological and complication free way, which is very important to us as patients as well. Mm. And of course, I believe that anyone who came across homeopathy even once can't help but admit that. Homeopathy is still not an authorized way of treatment here in Russia, but it is not forbidden either. So I have seen many allopathic doctors looking for healthier and more effective ways to address people's health have to come to homeopathy over the last 20 years out of the conventional system. I know dentists, pediatricians, therapists, gynecologists, obstetricians who switched to homeopathy as patients first and then totally changed their practice into homeopathy for the benefit of their patients. We now have quite a large group of enthusiastic homeopathic doctors who practice here in Vladivostok and also long distance all over the world because the homeopathy as a system does allow that, and it's awesome, I believe, and it's coming very effectively. They constantly study and get deeper and deeper into homeopathy, and it results in them taking more and more severe cases. I personally know, for example, an obstetrician who works in a government hospital, and she has saved many lives of very hopeless infants by using homeopathy. But she couldn't do it officially. She did it as a person, she did it as someone who really wanted to help her patients. Um, and more, I see that more and more people hear of this way of treatment and seek it as the best way for themselves and their loved ones. But one of the things that you have mentioned, and I agree with it, people really want to seek professional help. And if they they want to rely on the doctors, they want to know that the doctors are educated. And to our people, and many to all people, it's important that doctors are have diplomas and are supported by the government, are authorized by assigned people and authorities, and can practice. Otherwise, there is very little respect or trust to doctors. And that's where I believe homeopathy lacks, at least here in Russia. But it's a very, very effective practice. I have seen a case of ovarian cancer operated before the patient came to homeopathy, which has been treated by Dr. Joe Isaac. And it freed the patient of the tendency for the cancerous process, which allopathy does not offer. And it also freed the patient's daughter of the same tendency, which she turned out to have also. We also have two cases of brain astrocytomas in two siblings, very successfully treated. Not many other options in conventional medicines for them. We also have seen cases of mental ailments, such as, for example, in a very young woman who was so mentally messed up that she constantly felt like killing her own children and herself. In an allopathic world, she would have ended up in a mental home. She might have committed what she intended. But this woman now is totally free mentally, very happy, has a job, loves her and adores her children, does charity work, and now she helps other people as well. I have also seen Dr. Joe Isaac treat many severe cases of brain tumors, ulcers, severe mental disorders, skin diseases, asthma, severe liver problems, diabetes, male and female ailments, COVID-19 cases, and post-COVID cases. Cases of tormenting vertigos, arthritis, migraines, treated by him very, very successfully. And of course, that is something that goes without saying. I believe that it's like fresh and clean water. It will find its way in to the people who really need it. It will, and I believe homeopathy will likewise find its way to spread because it's a very, very effective way. Um, Also, homeopathy allows me to help many orphans here in Russia because it's a very simple way to help. And I have helped children in very simple and also very severe acute cases. Because a sugar granule is such a simple and yet very effective way of helping people that really doesn't compare to any other method, which is very, uh, other methods are usually very brutal, very, very extreme to my mind. Um, I'm also very grateful to have raised my family without any chemicals. Um, those Dr. Joe's and homeopathy have blessed my daughters tremendously to recover from the most severe skin and neurological conditions. It also cured myself from ulcer, hormonal disbalance, constant sore throats, migraines. And last year, he got me covered from COVID at the camp that I worked for, uh, where many workers got COVID afterwards, and I didn't. So I feel very blessed to have had this in my life. I think it's a great and really physiological, God-based idea for addressing human health, um, that will spread just by it being very effective. But of course, things that we mentioned before, like hospitals, emergency care, government support, would definitely help to bring it, I believe, to a level where it will be uh, respected and trusted by more people and by majority of the society. So right now, people are being very careful. The patients that we have come to homeopathy through testimonies of other people, through seeing their loved ones getting cured, getting helped, and I have seen it spread over the years just through those things. But if we could help it grow into higher levels, into the government, into the minds of people who can really promote it, it would really help. So thank you very much for doing what you do, for your practice, for taking it into the world, and for helping people on the individual basis and on the society basis. Thank you very much.